Welcome to Earth 20,000 years ago. Imagine waking up with no house, no heater, no coat, no food. The temperature outside is minus 50 degrees Celsius. The wind cuts through you like a blade, and just beyond the tree line something massive is watching you. Welcome to Earth 20,000 years ago. This was not a horror movie. This was simply life. And somehow your ancestors not only survived this frozen hell, they thrived in it. Today we are going to show you the most insane, most creative, and most brutal survival methods ever used by ancient humans during the Ice Age. Some of these will shock you, some will disgust you, and all of them will make you deeply grateful for your heated bedroom. First, let us understand just how brutal the Ice Age actually was. We are talking about a period called the last glacial maximum, roughly 20,000 to 26,000 years ago. Ice sheets up to 3 kilometers thick covered entire continents. Sea levels were 120 meters lower than today. Entire regions that are now cities, forests, and oceans were frozen wasteland. The human population of the entire planet was estimated to be as low as 10,000 people. That is less than a small town today, and yet they made it. So what exactly did they do? Number 1, they mastered fire like gods. Most people think ancient humans just stumbled onto fire by accident. A lightning strike here, a volcanic rock there. But the truth is these people were engineers of fire. Archaeological evidence shows that humans during the Ice Age were not just using fire, they were controlling it. They built hearths, which are structured fire pits placed strategically inside cave entrances. Not too far inside because they would suffocate from smoke. Not too far outside because they would freeze. Right at the mouth of the cave where the smoke carried out and the heat bounced back and off the rock walls. That is not luck, that is physics, but here is where it gets truly remarkable. Researchers found ancient fire starting kits made of iron, pyrite, flint, and dried fungus, all bundled together like a survival kit. These were not random rocks. These were handcrafted, portable, prepackaged lighters made 20,000 years ago. They understood that fire was not just warmth. It was light during 18-hour Arctic darkness. It was cooked food that gave more energy. It was protection from predators, and it was the social glue that held the entire group together. Fire was not just survival. Fire was the beginning of civilization. Number 2, they wore the animals they killed. When ancient humans had to leave shelter to hunt, to travel, or to find food, stepping outside in minus 40-degree wind without protection meant death within minutes. So they turned their kills into clothing, and not just throwing a fur over their shoulders. These humans developed some of the most sophisticated clothing technology of their era. Archaeologists found ancient needles carved from bone in Ice Age sites, needles so small and so precise they could stitch perfectly tight seams. They created multi-layered clothing systems. An inner layer of soft fur worn directly against the skin to trap body heat, and an outer layer of tougher animal hide to block wind and snow. Scientists have directly compared this to the modern thermal layering systems used by Arctic explorers today. Same exact concept, just different materials. They also made boots with sealed seams so snow could not get inside. They made gloves with separate thumb openings for grip. They made hoods attached directly to their jackets. They essentially invented the parka 20,000 years before any modern clothing brand ever existed. Number 3, the food they ate would make most people sick today. In the Ice Age, farming was impossible. The ground was frozen solid. Plants were almost nowhere to be found. So ancient humans became the most adaptive and opportunistic eaters the world had ever seen. Their main food source was megafauna, woolly mammoths, cave bears, giant deer, woolly rhinos, animals so enormous that a single kill could feed an entire group for weeks. But here is a food preservation method that will completely blow your mind. Ancient humans used the Ice Age itself as a freezer. They buried meat deep in the permafrost, which is permanently frozen ground, and retrieved it weeks or even months later when food was scarce. This is literally the world's first refrigerator, invented out of pure necessity. But when fresh meat was not available, they ate things most people today could never stomach. Carcasses of animals that had died naturally. Bone marrow cracked open with rocks and consumed raw, which was packed with fat and calories essential for surviving the cold. Insects, grubs, roots, bark, anything that contained nutritional value went into their mouths. Their rule was simple: calories keep you alive, pride gets you killed. These were not savage people. They were survival scientists making the best decisions possible with what the frozen world gave them. Number 4, the hunt that should have been impossible. Picture this. You weigh 70 kilograms, your prey weighs 6,000 kilograms. It has tusks longer than you are tall. It can charge at 25 kilometers per hour, and your only weapon is a sharpened stick. How do you win that fight? The answer is brains. Ancient humans developed coordinated group hunting strategies that modern researchers have compared to military operations. One of the most powerful methods was called the cliff drive. A hunting group would split into two teams. The first team would get directly behind a herd of animals, mammoths, horses, or giant bison, and create chaos. They would shout, bang rocks together, and wave fire in the air. The panicked animals would run forward with no direction. The second team was already waiting on both sides, funneling the herd like walls toward the edge of a cliff. The animals, completely blinded by panic, would fall. One coordinated trap secured hundreds of thousands of calories in a single effort. They also invented a weapon called the atlatl, which was a spear-throwing device that acted as an extension of the human arm, multiplying throwing power by up to 300%. The human arm alone throws a spear at roughly 30 kilometers per hour. An atlatl-launched spear traveled at over 150 kilometers per hour, which is enough force to pierce straight through mammoth hide. These were not primitive hunters swinging sticks in the dark. They were tacticians, engineers, and elite athletes, all living in the same body. Number 5, they built their homes from mammoth bones. When there were no caves to shelter inside, ancient humans did not give up. They built their own structures from the bones of the largest animals on Earth. Archaeologists excavating sites across Eastern Europe, including Ukraine, Russia, and the Czech Republic, have uncovered the remains of shelters constructed entirely from mammoth bones and curved tusks. The base of each structure was a ring of mammoth skulls. The walls were built from stacked leg bones and jaw bones. The curved mammoth tusks were bent and shaped into an overhead dome. Animal hides were then stretched tightly across the entire frame and held down with additional bones to seal out wind and snow. Some of these structures measured over 5 meters wide. Inside each one, researchers found central hearths for fire, underground storage pits for food, and organized sleeping areas. These were not temporary emergency shelters. These were permanent family homes. And constructing just one of them required gathering bones from a minimum of 10 to 15 individual mammoths. That level of effort tells us something extraordinary. These communities were planning ahead, storing resources, dividing labor, and thinking about the future. That is not the behavior of an animal. That is the behavior of a civilization built in the middle of a frozen apocalypse with nothing but bare hands and raw intelligence. Number 6, the survival method that nobody talks about. This final method might actually be the most important one of all. Art, music, ritual. During the Ice Age, ancient humans were painting breathtaking images on cave walls deep underground. They were carving small figurines by hand from stone and ivory. They were playing musical instruments, specifically flutes made from bird bones and mammoth ivory, which are the oldest instruments ever discovered on Earth. They were burying their dead with care, with intention, and with meaning. Now you might be asking, what does any of this have to do with survival? Everything, because human beings do not break physically first. We break psychologically. Hopelessness, despair, and loss of meaning will kill a person long before the cold does. The ancient humans who made it through the Ice Age were not only physically strong, they had purpose. They had identity. They had community held together by shared stories, shared songs, and shared beliefs. Researchers now believe that these creative and ritual behaviors were the invisible glue that kept small human groups unified and mentally strong through decades of brutal, unrelenting hardship. Every painting on a cave wall was a reminder. We are still here. We still matter. We are going to survive this. That psychological armor was likely just as responsible for human survival as any spear, any fire, or any fur coat ever was. The Ice Age lasted tens of thousands of years. It erased species that were far larger, far stronger, and far more physically powerful than humans. The woolly mammoth is gone, the cave lion is gone, the giant ground sloth is gone, but the small, fragile, shivering humans who had nothing but their minds and each other are still here. Because of fire they engineered from scratch, clothing they stitched together by hand, hunts they planned with the precision of generals, homes they constructed from the bones of giants, and stories they told around the fire every night to keep one another alive on the inside. The next time life feels impossible, remember that you carry the blood of people who survived a frozen apocalypse with no technology, no comfort, and no guarantee of tomorrow. If they could do that with nothing, think about what you can do with everything you have. If this video opened your eyes, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because next time we are going even deeper into the untold mysteries of prehistoric humanity. You do not want to miss what is coming.